Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to the first of 4 reviews of watches that I got from Jomashop last month. Now you could therefore call this semi-sponsored content. I still paid my own hard-earned cash for these watches, but Jomashop did me a deal. In return, I'm sure they would like me to direct you to their website. Now, even if you don't end up buying from Jomashop, you'd be crazy not to check out their prices because their prices are super sharp. This Tissot PR100 COSC certified automatic, for example, comes in at $299 US. You'll find a link to that one in the description of the video. You'll also find a discount code taking $20 off that price. Now at $279, I think this watch offers a compelling package. In fact, I'm going to start this review with a question. What do these two watches have in common? Well, I'll tell you. They're both 39mm Swiss-made stainless steel watches with 100 meters of water resistance and COSC certified automatic movements with healthy power reserves. And I don't think either of them features any anti-reflective coating on the crystal. But that, my friends, is where the similarities end. The Tissot will cost you $280 as discussed. The Rolex Explorer, $6,550 US, unless of course they've jacked up the price since this morning, which, let's be honest, is a distinct possibility. My point is not that these two watches are necessarily interchangeable, that would be ridiculous, but there is some great on-paper value to be found in this Tissot today, I think. It's not the most exciting watch that I've reviewed on the channel, I'll be honest with you. It hasn't lit a fire in my belly, but sometimes that's alright. Sometimes you just want something that is super sensible, you can pop on your wrist Monday to Friday and wear for years and years and years. And I think to that end, this Tissot PR100 would be a great choice. Fantastic packaging. I talk about this every time I review a Tissot. There's a little couple of books in here. There's a comprehensive product catalogue and there is a history of the watch company, a little Tissot potted history for you. There's also a couple of secret compartments in this case. Warranty details in here and one for keeping your spare links in and the tags as I have done. So we will do dimensions and specifications to begin with, then really the excitement here today is regarding this movement. So we'll have a good look at that, discuss some of the technical specs of the movement itself, and I have got the critical, the all-important movement accuracy report. I started it 2 weeks ago when I unboxed this one. Let's see whether it does actually live up to that chronometer officially certified billing as discussed on the dial there. All the usual good stuff, lume video, inside, outside, wrist shots, and a bit of macro thrown in for good measure as well. So 39mm as mentioned, less than 12mm thick though. 44mm lug tip to lug tip, so it wears very sweetly indeed. 20mm lug width, tapering down to 18, back up to 20 for the stainless steel clasp, and size for me, 7-inch wrist. This one weighs in at 134 grams, so it's all stainless. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it is not overly heavy. So 316L stainless steel case, crown, smooth bezel, and bracelet. Just push pins in these links, solid end links, and the clasp, cutting corners. It's only a press clasp and not a particularly lavish one at that. At least it does have a pair of security pushers on the side. It does feel reasonable, if only pressed. The crown does not screw down, but this watch still manages 10 bar 100 meters of water resistance, and that is indeed a piece of flat sapphire crystal covering the dial. Tissot don't spec whether there is any AR coating on here. Yeah, there may be just a little bit, I'm not so sure. Sunburst dial, as you can see, I'll get this one outside shortly for you, but it's a fairly pleasant, if very plain dial. Tissot 1853, reminding you of why you bought a Tissot in the first place, the fact that they've been making watches since 1853, PR100, chronometer officially certified printed on the dial, and the indices are applied, so we do have raised indices. Now, one peculiar feature this watch has is the internal cyclops. I popped this one on Instagram when I first got it and put out a poll. Has anybody seen a watch with an internal cyclops before? Apparently they're more common than I had thought, a number of Panerais, etc. But it is a bit weird that the cyclops is round, but the date frame around the date window is rectangular. Not sure that they fully thought that one through. Case finishing is nice though, I have to say. Super smooth satinized brushing on the side of the case and on the lugs. but they've taken the time to put a little polished chamfered edge there, complementing the high polished smooth bezel and that polished crown, just about the right size, decently grippy, with the Tissot T logo embossed there. There's a bit of interest in the handset as well. They appear to have been scalloped in the middle, so we've got a kind of brushed scallop in the middle, high polished outer edge. There is some loom on the minute and the hour hand, and the customary kind of signature Tissot T counterbalance to the second hand. I think the handset is nicely proportioned, and that Tissot T does add a little bit of razzle dazzle to a dial that is very, very plain. Alright, that's the basics out of the way. Let's have a look at this movement then, because that's probably where the excitement is. It's in the back of the watch and not the front. This thing really is a cracker. So it's the Powermatic 80. This movement, in one guise or another, is featured in a lot of the kind of entry level, the base tier Swatch Group products, because obviously Tissot is owned by the Swatch Group, as is ETA. This is an ETA 2824 derived caliber. They call it the C07.111, 23 joules, it hacks, it hand winds, larger single barrel to give it that remarkable 80-hour power reserve, and they slow the beat rate down. They slow it down from 4 Hz to 3 Hz, so you only get 6 ticks of the second hand per second. You don't get that super smooth sweep that you get from a 4 Hz movement, but it doesn't use as much of the power reserve as a consequence, which is why they've managed to stretch it out to 80 hours. The big question is though, did it hit COSC parameters? Let's have a look, shall we? This is a movement accuracy report over the course of a couple of weeks, and as you can see, it does indeed hit COSC. COSC is -4 to +6, this one coming in at +4.8 average, so you get a remarkably long power reserve and you get a remarkably accurate movement, and not just accurate but consistent, all for less than $280. And it looks pretty as well. The wave patterns on the rotor and other components are all very nice indeed. It certainly makes a pleasant change from looking at the NH35 through a display case back. Well, that's a relief. Now that the COSC status has been confirmed, I can bring back in some of the bump there, reminding you that you bought a COSC watch. And it wears very well indeed. Compact lug to lug, slim, weighty but not too weighty, 7-inch wrist. This is just about spot on as an everyday wear. I've met many people with Tissots that look like they've been through the mill because they've had them for decades. They're that kind of watch. They're not necessarily the most exciting watch in the world, but they're just a kind of faithful friend that you can buy and enjoy for a decade, and that Tissot brand, the name, has got a lot of cachet for certain people also. Zoomed out for a proper overhead shot, nice clean uncluttered dial. There's a little bit of text obviously above the 6 and that Cyclops, the internal Cyclops, but still very legible, nicely sized and proportioned handset. Baton indices, all pretty straightforward stuff here today. Taking it outside and you can see what I mean. I'm not sure how much, if any, anti-reflective coating is on the underside of that crystal today. I guess though, you can expect a couple of compromises. You're not going to get a movement like that in a watch for $300 and Swiss made on the dial and everything else as well. It's just not going to happen. Where's a treat though? No sharp edges here, all very nice and comfortable. Nice curved case back, little chamfered edge to the underside of the case as well. Super comfy all day, everyday watch this one. So a serious value proposition then, the PR100 COSC Automatic. If you can name a better bang per buck movement for $300 or less in a watch, I would love to hear about it. This one really does take the cake, I think. But there's got to be a few moans and niggles, and what are they today? Well, press clasp and not even a nice one. Ooh, that thing is pretty hideous to look at, and you'll be reminded of that cost saving exercise every time you put the watch on or off. Loom, nothing to write home about either. No loom on the indices or the dial anywhere, just loom on the hour and the minute hand. I guess it is kind of commensurate with this style of watch. It's not a diver, so a bit of loom on the hands is a bonus, but don't expect it to last all that far into the night. That little internal Cyclops is just plain weird, frankly. I would much rather they had done without it. It does indeed clash with the rectangular frame date window underneath, a very odd choice. And then there's the looks. To call this watch a plain Jane would be doing Jane a bit of a disservice. It really is quite dull frankly. Printed dial, there's Sunburst as an attempt to do something there. You can get them in blue. Not sure if they do the COSC one in blue though, or it's just available in black. I mean, look at those baton indices. They couldn't be more simple if they had tried to be, but to each their own. I posted this one on Instagram and my brother-in-law said, "Hey Jody, that's the best looking watch that you've posted on your Instagram ever." So it certainly has appeals with some people. Also, those polished mid-links won't wear as well as the satinized brushing on the rest of the bracelet. They will scratch and scuff if you do end up keeping this one for a decade or a couple of decades or more. Talking of which, that movement is going to cost you a couple of bucks to service when the time comes. But overall, it really is remarkable how much watch you can get for $280. I'm not going to go through the spec list again, you know, we've done that a couple of times today, but it offers an awful lot of watch for not an awful lot of price. If the looks are for you, if it's something that you could see yourself owning and wearing long term, this one, highly recommended. So there you have it, the Tissot PR100 with a Powermatic 80 COSC chronometer certified automatic movement in it. Not the most exciting watch that I've reviewed for less than $300 US, that's for sure, but a thoroughly compelling package. It's not always all about excitement and razzle dazzle. If you want something super solid, discreet and well made that you can wear Monday to Friday, leave it on your bedside table, put on your SKX or your Beta watch over the weekend, put it back on Monday morning, and it's still set to the right time, I think this Tissot will serve you very, very well for years, if not decades to come. $279, you don't get the earth for less than $300, and indeed there are a couple of compromises here. The press clasp, you know my thoughts about press clasps, and the loom isn't fantastic, but overall I think this one offers an awful lot of watch for not an awful lot of cash. I'll see you in a couple of weeks time, if not before, for the next of my Jomashop reviews, the Hamilton Khaki King. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.